What is up, world? Today we're gonna do a little story time. So, you know, not many people really know, the people who know me, like you know that I do music, but a lot of people don't exactly fully know how I actually got into music, right? Um, Honestly, it stems back to when I was little. When I was young, I had, I always loved performing. I just loved putting on a show for people, you know? I didn't necessarily have, I didn't necessarily have plans or whatever saying that one day I'm gonna become a rock star. Maybe I did, but I had a bigger kind of idea saying that, well, bigger at the time, saying that I'm gonna become a scientist slash billionaire. That was what I would tell people when I was like in 5th grade. But coming up to that point from like young to 5th grade, I heard a lot of music, like pop punk and things like that, like Green Day, Blink-182, stuff like that. Because that was, to me, that was like the sound in like 2004 up till whenever, you know? But being young, I was also influenced by nu metal, most specifically Linkin Park. Like they had a huge impact on my sound and things like that, you know? But even then, I still didn't have any dreams saying I'm gonna become a singer one day. I had dreams of being a WWE superstar when I was in the 6th grade, but that didn't exactly work out. I joined the wrestling team, but I was only 75 pounds, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure that also said they gave me the smallest singlet they had, but it wasn't fully fitting on me. Look at me. I'm pretty sure that was when I was like 11 years old, man. I was pretty then, I'm pretty now. Anyway, 5th grade year, I know I'm kind of bouncing backwards. I just talked about middle school, but 5th grade year, I got introduced to, a lot of different things. I got introduced to, like when I was 10, I got introduced to people like, Michael Jackson, people like Kiss. And then by the time I was 11, it was bands like the Beatles, like Metallica, things like that. And it really brought out something in me, especially Kiss, I would say, because they brought out what I would say is, well, I used to call like the weird in me, basically. I don't know if I ever said that, but, from people like them, and this is all strange, but nowadays you see me like sometimes painting my face, like I did on my last album, The Inner World, how I had like, those different markings, basically my letters, ITC for Ian the Chosen, basically, and wearing that African shirt to represent Afrofuturism. But yeah, people like Kiss, because those who know Kiss know that they used to paint their face, that they paint their faces and stuff like that. And not only that, people outside of music, like Jeff Hardy from WWE, because I was a huge, wrestling fan, like I said. But also, I loved, when I was younger, I saw Batman the Dark Knight, and Heath Ledger's Joker to me was fantastic. I just loved that just level of just crazy, and I used to just do that kind of stuff, and but fast forward to 7th grade, yeah. So 7th grade, I didn't really listen to a lot of popular music and stuff like that until like I got in 6th grade also introduced to people like, Lil Wayne, Eminem, IAs, Jay Sean, I got introduced to people like Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj. 7th grade, I was introduced to people like Tyga, Waka Flocka Flame, excuse me, and even old school stuff like Tupac Shakur, and things like that. But even then, I still did not say one day I'm gonna be a musician. But something I feel like sparked for me when I listened to, because like I said, I grew up listening to Linkin Park. You know, Chester Bennington, love you, miss you, man. The guy that specifically kind of piqued an interest in was the DJ of the group, Johan, or what they called him in the past. I'm pretty sure they said the turntablist. You know, the guitarist, the bassist, you know, the vocalist, and the turntablist. You know, he was hitting these pad things, coming up with sound. I'm like, what is that? You know, but of course now I know that that was an MPC, you know. And then I started watching Jersey Shore. How old was I? Yeah, 13 when I started watching the Jersey Shore, and Pauly D was my guy, man, I'll tell you the truth. And he got me into DJing. He was the guy that made me say, all right, I want to be a DJ. And so, you know, I spent time online looking for my own DJ set. You know, the first event that I remember DJing for was my 7th grade middle school year spring fling 2012. And, you know, after that I said, I want to set out, I want to start, you know, DJing. I want to, you know, just do that kind of thing. But fast forward, 8th grade year, I'm still, you know, wanting to DJ all of these different things. But again, fast forward. Summer of 2013 is when I decided I want to be a rapper, you know, and I was really just looking into that. I said, I want to do this. I want to do music. This is going to be my career. That's when I decided to pursue it. And so freshman year comes around. All throughout high school, I went through all kinds of musical phases, you know, from hip hop to, you know, EDM, well, hip hop to rock to EDM to rap rock, basically Linkin Park type stuff. And then the next 3 years almost of high school, sophomore, well, the end of sophomore year, I'd say probably middle, third trimester, then junior year, then the beginning of senior year, I was a part of a band that I formed with one of my middle school friends and a drummer. We called ourselves, at first we called ourselves TSI for our names, Trey, Steve, Ian, but then we called ourselves Houston, We Have a Problem. And so I was playing bass with that band, and eventually, at the beginning of my senior year, that band split. I started up another band, and over a certain point, that band split, and that's what really launched my solo career. And I was a bassist for these bands, and basically the bass was all that I knew, you know? Basically, bass. But yeah, I would just perform at concerts. I'd be playing guitar chords on the bass and things like that, and I would sing. That's just what I knew. The bass guitar was my trade, you know? I played a little electric guitar at the time. I played a little drums, and sort of, very teeny tiny little bit dabbled on the piano. But no, not like I do now. And I was, well, I'm still not a piano player. I just play piano, you know? But over time, I really just advanced musically. And that led to things like starting to play for churches and just, you know, starting to be a freelance church musician, just whoever wanted a bass player. And then, of course, over time, I picked up, you know, electric guitar. I picked up all kinds of different things. And especially quarantine of 2020 is really when I got into really serious more about playing guitar, because I was already playing both bass and electric for church. And then that evolved into something else. And here I am today, about 5 albums later from the beginning of my college years, and really the rest is history, you know, for those who know me. And my name is Ian the Chosen. You call me Ian Tubbs. But yeah, man, this is really just my story, and of course, the rest is still unwritten. Well, nah, I take that back. God already wrote the story. It's just going to be, yeah, I say wrote past tense. It's already designed. Now I just gotta walk in it, man. But yeah, that's me.